You've spent your whole life being kind to your kids, to your partner, to your friends, and maybe even strangers. But if someone were to ask us, what's one kind thing you did for yourself today? Most of us would go quiet. This video is about changing that, and it's simpler than you think. Most of us, especially women, got the message to set our needs aside and put other people ahead of us. And we just kept doing it for decades. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with being kind. It shows that you care. It shows that you're attentive to other people's needs. But it does come at a cost. And it may not be dramatic, but it might mean that you have not been living the full version of you. Today, I want to talk about what that looks like, how that happened, and most importantly, 3 small shifts you can do to start putting you at the forefront of your kindness. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jane, and this is Living Simply After 60, where I'm exploring how to create a more simple, intentional, and meaningful next chapter. If this sounds like something you'd like to explore too, then I'm happy to have you join along. Where did this come from? This whole thing about putting other people before ourselves. I think it's just part of being, especially a girl, that we were taught that good girls are kind to people, good girls don't say no. And it's just part of our role as sister, daughter, mother, wife, and even an employee. And so we just learned how to do this. We learned that this is how people like us. And it's so important, really, not even in a way that we understand, but that need to be liked by other people, to be accepted by other people, is part of our limbic system in our brain. It's a innate desire and need because being liked by people meant survival. And so we just kept on doing it. But it's come at an expense, and the expense is not being fully who we are. And that's not what I want for the rest of my life. And so I want to make a change. And I think if you're here, maybe you want to make a change too. So, what has this cost us? Maybe it's a version of you that you've buried because you haven't fully allowed yourself to explore the things that really have a lot of meaning for you. Maybe you're like me and you put everything. I put my kids' swim team ahead of my own needs, and it cost me. I felt resentful sometimes, and even when there's things I really wanted to do, like my kids, I wanted to put them first. It was still at the expense of me, and this won't happen to everyone, but for me, it resulted in a health crisis. And I came to realize that I had been putting everyone ahead of me, my kids, my husband, my job, my all of my work, everything that I was doing was ahead of what I needed to do for me, even when I knew better. And so I want to make a change. And that's actually how I got my health back. I started putting myself first, and that helped. But I've still been putting other people ahead of me. And so part of what I want to do in this channel is hold myself accountable for these things that I know are going to help me live more intentionally and have a more meaningful next phase of my life. And I want to share what I'm doing with you as well. So let's talk about 3 shifts we can make to help us begin to start putting ourselves first. So the first shift I want to talk about is, first of all, just awareness. Notice how often you put other people first. Maybe you might even notice the kindness that you show to other people, even in the words that you speak. It's not the same kindness you're showing to yourself. I know I've heard some people say that, gosh, I say things to myself I would never say to any of my friends or people I love. So start to notice that. Create some awareness about how are you not being kind to yourself first. Because, when we are kind to ourselves first and when we fill up our own bucket, we have more for other people. So it's actually turns out to be a kindness for other people as well. But the first shift is awareness, just noticing how do you speak to yourself? How do you show up for yourself? And you could ask yourself, was I last on my list today? And there's no judgment. This isn't to berate yourself or be angry with yourself or tell yourself that you shouldn't do that. It's just to notice. We have to have awareness before we can make any changes. So here's the second shift that I have found really helpful. Now, I love journaling, and if you saw my last video, I talked about my sanctuary, my little sanctuary where I do my journaling, and it's a place I really love. And I start my day there. And one of the things I found really helpful in shifting to being kind to myself is writing myself a little message in the morning. So here's something you could do. Write a message to yourself as if you were speaking to a dear friend. What would you say to that dear friend if you really wanted to make her feel special? You might say something like, "Hello, dear one. Hello, sweet friend. Hello, lovely. You're a good, kind person. How can you show up for yourself today? What's something kind you can do for yourself today?" Or maybe just say something kind to yourself. It's a great way to start that day with a loving feeling. And I would even suggest, once you write this, feel it. Where do you feel that feeling in your body? Because the feelings are what really matter. And then the third shift I'd like you to think about doing, and I'm doing this as well, and that is at the end of the day. When you get in bed at night and before you fall asleep, just think about what's something I did today where I put myself first, or somewhere I was kind to myself today. So you might need a little reminder. I put a little rock on my nightstand, and when I see that rock, I hold it in my hand, and it reminds me to do this little practice where I'm saying, okay, what did I do for myself today? How was I kind to myself today? How did I show up for myself today? And maybe you got to look at something small. Maybe it's that first kind thing that you said to yourself, and you can't think of anything else. But what this does, it starts setting your brain up for the expectation that this is coming. And when you know you're going to be answering that question later in the day, you'll probably do something during the day that is going to be supportive for you. So here's what I'd like you to learn from this. It's not that you need to stop being kind to other people. It's just that you need to include yourself in the circle of kindness. And I need to do this too. Now, if you'd like to see what I'm doing and the areas that I'm exploring, I created a simple life blueprint, and you can download it for free. I'll include the link in the description below. Oh, and I'd love to hear your comments. Put in the comment something kind that you have done or are going to do for yourself today. I'd love to read your comments and I'll respond to everyone. Okay, I'll see you again soon on Living Simply After 60. Most of us, especially women, and personal wants, a version of ourselves that's not quite where we want myself. I even put my kids' swim team above myself, and neighbors just bringing in some construction equipment. Ah.